Hey everybody, and welcome to this special on Venus transiting in Pisces, which happens this year from the 31st of March at 12:16 GMT time. All aspects and everything I mentioned is based on Vedic constellational astrology. So this year, Venus stays in Pisces until the 24th of April when it moves into Aries at 7:29 PM. So in summary, Venus transit in Pisces allows us to connect deeply with others, ourselves, a higher power, nature, the universe, whatever you want to call the unseen. It can make us more kind, empathetic, compassionate. As I said, it can make us more creative, and we can have an increased appreciation for art and beauty. Negatively, it can also make us overly idealistic and prone to emotional sensitivity and moodiness. We can be more susceptible to manipulation. We can manipulate others to get what we want. We can escape into drugs and alcohol, especially in terms of our couples or in groups, because Venus rules relationships as well. Our inner values may get confronted by external experiences where we question who we are, or we may question our current relationships. Could be an intimate relationship or your relationship with yourself, or possessions as well. Psychologically, this energy supports us in digging deep into our subconscious desires and our mind, and just thinking about how we love. Are we lacking love? Have you given up on love? Are you heartbroken? Do you need to deal with unresolved psychological, emotional and spiritual wounds around love? So this gives us the energy to heal ourselves and our spiritual connection to ourselves and nature and the world around us, encouraging us to explore our deepest emotions and seek greater happiness within ourselves and in our relationships. So the best use of this energy is to deepen your connection with others, seek a sense of joy from within, authentically sharing who you are, rethink your finances and how you view possessions and the ways you may overspend money on love. I don't want to say are you being catfished, but because Pisces is delusional, are you equally getting back what you're giving in your relationships as well? Taking time out to appreciate the beauty around you, tap into your intuition, deal with your fears, be mindful of your emotional boundaries and limits, and avoid getting lost in romantic fantasies, ignoring red flags or any unhealthy escapism, whether it be like alcohol, toxic relationships, overspending on clothes, alcohol and experiences to avoid dealing with yourself. This transit esoterically wants us to be open to self-reflection, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, even if it's just with yourself, and just be open to the transformative power of love, compassion, self-forgiveness, letting go of guilt and shame, and just being open to new experiences. So now I'm just going to talk about the aspects that Venus is making this year on the 31st of March at 12:16 PM when it goes into Pisces. So firstly, the moon is making a square with Venus. This is at an applying orb at 3.20 degrees. So especially those with strong moon or 4th house or 2nd or 7th house energy, or even 10th house energy, or Cancer, Venus, moon placements in their natal chart, you may experience more emotional tension and relationship challenges over this time. There can be a conflict between your emotional needs and your desires for harmony and love from others, so you may people please and indulge in toxic ways of relating and escapism, so watch out for that, because this amplifies all the negatives I was talking about earlier. Ignoring red flags, actually wanting to be abused due to unresolved trauma within yourself or your perspective on love. Even sub-dom relationships, submissive dominating relationships need to have equality and communication. It's about consent, so just make sure everything is consented over this time, especially when it comes to sensual and sexual expression. Venus's conjunction to Neptune, once again, can just make us delusional and ignoring red flags and just having chaotic experiences that can cause confusion. But positively, it supports us connecting deeper with all of life and also adds double empathy and understanding. So, we can use this energy to embrace our imagination and tap into our creative side and just understand ourselves and others, and just watch out for, the blurring of lines between boundaries that can happen. Venus also makes a conjunction with the midheaven, so again, love may happen in the workplace, or you may end a relationship, and this may affect your ability to work as well negatively. So you just have to try to do your best to manage your expectations and your emotions at this time, not repressing them, but also having some time out if you can get time out from your career at this time, or just making sure that you nurture yourself outside of working hours, and even during, just be gentle with yourself and take things slow. It allows us to receive recognition and praise when it comes to our careers, or with our sort of like creative expression or projects. We may get some success there. It's a perfect energy to sort of ask for funding, show off your skills and put yourself out there. If you're thinking about starting that podcast, that video channel, anything creative can really do well under this energy, singing, dancing. So also this year, when Venus goes into Pisces, there is a stellium between Chiron, the North Node, Venus, Neptune and the Midheaven. So in astrology, stellium is a cluster of 3 or more planets or points that are closely positioned in the same zodiac sign, degree, orb or house. And a stellium, in simple terms, just is like a concentrated energy, because the Sun, Chiron, the North Node, Venus and Neptune and the midheaven are all in Pisces at this time. So there's a lot of Pisces, water, mutable, changeable energy. So as I said, negatively it can make us more moody, or it intensifies the cosmic forces at play during this time, so we can be that extra more sensitive. We can use this energy to tap into our spiritual, more open, emotional side. It can make us more romantic, more creative. It supports us in making positive choices when it comes to our self-care, healing and making the right choices when it comes to our addictions to relationships or substances. Helps us to maintain that balance and face our emotions and not numb ourselves. But negatively it can add to the misunderstandings, the disillusionment and confusion and chaos in relationships. It can make it challenging to maintain balance or to maintain our boundaries as well as we navigate through complex emotional sort of like dynamics at this time. So just be doubly aware of this. But if you're prepared to tap into that more intuitive, self-reflective side of you, deepening your connection to your emotions and inner world, it can really help you, and it supports us in repairing our relationships and bonding deeply with others, being more honest and open and vulnerable. And doing this can allow ourselves to heal emotionally and for our intimacy to grow as well. So it supports intimacy, being raw and authentic, and creating safe and active listening spaces in our relationships where everyone's given a chance to listen and speak their mind, and everybody's views are sort of like respected. Then we try and find that compromise, which it's not as easy to do as I'm saying it, but this energy supports us in doing so. It can make us make powerful, impactful creations, whether it's a podcast, a song, writing a book, starting writing a book, a poetry collection, designing AI sort of like images, whatever it is you're into, coding. It supports us in making something that's really deeply meaningful to us, and for some of you it can be meaningful to others as well. But ultimately, it wants us to express our emotions through art and creative expression at this time. We are supported to take time out for meditation, relaxation, and, allowing ourselves to be guided by our inner self. But we have to remember that we have to set our boundaries and respect other people's boundaries and take time out for self-care, so we don't get overwhelmed in the process of life at this time, in relationships, taking breaks when we needed, engaging in activities and relationships that bring us joy, happiness, relaxation, and prioritizing your psychological, spiritual, emotional well-being, and just surrounding yourself with supportive and understanding individuals. Or if you spend your time alone, you're more introverted, just taking time out to create a safe space for yourself to heal and rejuvenate on all levels. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk more about the practical, political, social, karmic meanings and what it means more for our relationships and career and spiritual and personal development and all that good stuff. So yeah, astrologically, as I said, Venus in Pisces makes us more empathetic, allowing us to connect with our innermost emotions and express them with calm and grace and openness. We can think of it of a time, if we wish, which I do, when love can become poetic and relationships can take on a dreamy aura. So this is why I said earlier it's important that we get consent and don't get lost, but also enjoy the lucidness and safe spaces, and if we are single, using this energy to heal and understand and just be open to being honest with ourselves and running to ourselves rather than from. Practically, it embraces us to embrace the power of imagination and the power of now and letting go of our past, and using our past as indicators to maybe what to avoid in the future because we learn our lessons. Tapping into our creative ability to understand ourselves and others on a deeper level, and to forgive and to let go slowly, or continue the work of letting go of feelings of guilt and shame, which is hard to do, but this energy supports this, as it supports us in finding innovative solutions to everyday problems and approaching things with a unique and different, more sort of subconscious spiritual energies, allowing us to think outside the box in our relationship, bring some more, spice and imagination and zest into our life on the worldly, materialistic level. It reminds us that true wealth lies in our connections and relationships, especially the one that we should all be making with ourselves, because we're the only ones with ourselves 24/7. We don't tend to go to the bathroom and things with everyone, and even not that, we have to become stable within ourselves so we can weather the storms that life will always bring. Life always will bring changes, and we can see this in the seasons, and it's our resistance to accepting this fact that sometimes make us sometimes live our whole lives in pain. So this energy reminds us that self-worth shouldn't be just about accumulating only possessions, status, wealth and how popular we are. It should be about nurturing the bonds that we have in our life with others, reminding us that career goals are great, educational goals are great, but we all want that, at least that one special person to relate to, even if it's just a platonic relationship. So Venus in Pisces reminds us of the importance and gives us the opportunity to invest in our personal connections, as well as, as I said, if you're more introverted, connecting with yourself and focusing on, even if you're not introverted, even if you are extroverted, focusing on building your self-reliance, relying on intuition and guidance and trusting yourself, and just being who you really are, and being open and being truthful. Politically, leaders can become more compassionate and understanding. Some leaders may take more diplomatic approaches, focusing on peaceful resolutions, which we need a lot of because there's so much conflict on a national level within ourselves as individuals, in our relationships and things. So leaders and politicians can use this energy to create harmony and bridge gaps between different groups. Spiritually and esoterically, it allows us, as I said, to explore our inner realms in more depth and just be open to the nurturing and empathy and understanding and self-love, healing and respect, and just it allows us to use techniques like mindfulness, meditation, tai chi, yoga, dream work, crystal work, and more mystical traditions to heal ourselves and to, get in tune with ourselves, our other people in relationships with the world in general. Symbolically, it represents the intertwining of beauty and the appreciation of it in all its many different forms, because after all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes society can tell us what beauty is, how we need to look to be accepted, how others need to look to be accepted by us, but this energy wants us to connect with others on the inner level, not on the surface, what they may look on the outside sort of like levels, reminding us that there's magic in the union of love and the ethereal, the spiritual. Venus in Pisces wants us to transcend the material, the mundane, not forgetting the logical completely, reality. It's not about that. It's about allowing yourself to be open to the deeper meanings, the more ethereal, round, subtle energies of life. Even if you don't believe in all the airy spiritual stuff, just going out and breathing in air, or opening up your window and letting air into your space, or getting a plant, or it means different things. Spirituality means different things. It's not all about religion and yoga and tai chi. It's about finding a deeper connection with whoever the higher power is to you. So this energy allows us to just become more open and in tune to the subtleties of emotions in life, and it just encourages us to explore the depths of our emotions and tap into our creative wellspring, whether it be through painting, gaming, coding, making, listening to music, writing, designing, walking barefoot, hugging trees, opening that window. It just supports us in letting that inner child out, maybe thinking more freely, and just being more open to be vulnerable, letting go of our inhibitions, our fears, and be more open. But of course, we need to watch out for being manipulated, ignoring red flags, and running away from ourselves, even if it means allowing other people to hurt us. So if you're affected by things like that at this time, reach out for help. Karmically, it brings a mystical, dreamy energy to our lives and relationships. Karmically, lessons that revolve around emotional boundaries and having more compassion, being open to connect with others on that deeper spiritual, psychological levels, surrendering our ego-driven desires and the expectations of who other people want us to be and who we expect ourselves to be, and taking time out to start or continue the work to find out who you authentically are. It wants you to be more open to the concept of unconditional love, and unconditional love doesn't mean love in any conditions. It's not about letting people who treat us unequally to do whatever they want with us, and we're just like, oh, I love you and you can do it to me a million times and I won't say nothing. As the old saying goes, fool me once, same on you, fool me twice and more, a million times, infinite whatever, then same on me. So it's about letting go of self-destructive behaviours and letting other people overstep your boundaries, becoming more assertive, becoming more aware and authentic, letting go of selfish tendencies and self-neglect tendencies, because a lot of us do that with self-neglect and sabotage. And we need to the karmic lesson wants us to focus on our well-being, especially on the psychological, emotional and spiritual levels, and also focus on the happiness of others, but in healthy, non-codependent ways, trying to be interdependent, where everybody's in the relationships treated equal, even in a sub-dominatrix relationship. Healthy communication is key. Past life experiences where we may have relationships with others, where we were spiritual together, or lifetimes where you may have been in lived more spiritual life, or a religious life may come to you in dream forms or just subconsciously through your experiences, energies of the past where maybe you sacrifice your own needs over others for a greater cause, where you may prioritise the needs and emotions of intimate and partners of your own. All of this is bringing your attention to the importance of making sure things are always equal, and it allows for us to heal any unresolved or karma we're not aware of, sort of like wanting us to find that much needed balance between being selfless and engaging in self-care and being healthy in some ways, being a bit selfish, but not in healthy or toxic way, in a way that sustains your ability to connect with yourself and others on that deeper level. So now I'm just going to talk about how Venus in Pisces affects our friendships and co-worker relationships and hookup and committed relationships. So friendships, we can connect with each other more on a deeper level. It's the same with co-worker relationships. We can cooperate more, work in teams and be more empathetic and forgiving, which is good because it can help us repair conflict and maybe just connect with someone who maybe on the surface we have nothing in common with. As long as we respect each other's boundaries, this energy can just help us to be more receptive to the emotional needs of ourselves and others, and just deepen our understanding. It's the same for committed relationships as well. It helps us to become more productive in all forms of relationships, especially in committed ones, and it can help us create stronger bonds and also just, express our affection in more healthy ways, to be open to it, or just have some, fun, because Neptune, which rules Pisces, it rules like entertainment as well. So maybe just having more day nights together, going out together, playing games together, just anything that sort of like helps you feel like you're having a meaningful experience, an authentic connection rather than just fleeting moments of passion. So people may not want to engage in hookups at this time as much, or some people may run into them, as I said earlier, to avoid being with themselves. Again, because we can be changeable in moods, make sure you get consent and reconfirm consent as well, and watch out for, because it's mutable energy, it can make us, as I said, feel the need to change hookup partner to hookup partner. There's nothing wrong with that, but just think about your reasoning behind it. Are you doing it because you're being you and being a whole adult, or are the ways of using hookups causing imbalances in other areas of your lives? So in terms of career and development, it just allows us to be more empathetic. Some of us may change our careers or think about a side hustle, or just research, having more of a creative, spiritual sort of career, being more imaginative in our work as well, which can lead to innovations that can solve problems in your career, or if you're self-employed, whatever it is you do that you've been facing for years and couldn't find a solution to. Just by being more open to a different way of thinking, whether it's spiritual or deductive reason, using your logic, whatever, it just allows us to just have more sort of unity within ourselves, and this makes it good for spiritual development, as it gives us that energy to be open to new spiritual teachings, to emphasize more with different spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs and stuff, and just become more self-aware and accepting and loving as well, and just have a desire for a connection with something greater than yourself as well. In terms of educational development, it allows us to be more intuitive and imaginative in the ways we go about learning things. So a lot of us may benefit from listening to things when we're falling asleep, or when we're driving, when we're doing the housework, or just chilling in the background. Any content we want to learn, because we're more open to retaining information in a meditative, lucid, relaxed state as well. Being able to sort of like connect with the material, whether it be history or geography or quantum physics, or coding, or some kind of technical advanced mathematics, even if it's something that really requires technique, like deep yogic breathing or lucid dreaming techniques and stuff. It allows for us to retain the knowledge we gain through our sort of like more chilled out state more easily, so we can just be more passionate at this time. So now I'm just going to finish up by talking about the best things for creatives, professionals, entrepreneurs. alternative healers and lovers to do when Venus is transiting in Pisces. So, ultimately it wants us to embrace the dreamy energy of Pisces, allow our creativity to heal ourselves emotionally or help us to connect deeper with others, whether it be sharing music, sharing films, sharing TV shows that we like, or just anything, art, books, just allowing ourselves to be inspired, working together, connecting with other people through creativity as well. We can become more creative in our professions as well, in our careers. We should use this just to bring creativity into our daily tasks, to just make our jobs a bit more interesting, take new approaches to problem solving, and just implementing new artistic or creative elements in your workplace that can just make you just feel more happier while you're working as well. And that's what it's all about. Entrepreneurs can use this to connect with their customers on a deeper level. You can become more empathetic with your own self-care regimes, because entrepreneurs can sometimes burn out themselves because they're always working and stuff. So just take time out to understand the emotional needs of yourself and your target audience, and any relationships you're involved in, because sometimes it can be hard to maintain relationships. So this energy allows entrepreneurs to sort of just connect with their projects, with their relationships with themselves on that more meaningful levels. Alternative healers should use this energy to sort of tap into their own and their clients' emotional, spiritual needs and meet them in boundaries and healthy ways. Maybe using art therapy or creativity in the therapies you offer, whether it be screaming technique or painting or the scribbling, drawing stick people, whatever, sound healing, guided visualizations, affirmations, just basically offering new techniques to sort of complement and enhance your healing sessions. This energy allows us to create more of a safe space that allows people to sort of relax and be open and more committed to their journey towards oneness and wellness. Lovers can use this energy to be more compassionate and express themselves in a more tender, sort of loving, poetic manner, doing activities together that sort of increases emotional intimacy, having more heartfelt, authentic conversations, saying sorry, making plans for the future, doing things that help you connect more together as well. You may also find yourself drawn towards exploring fantasies together, sort of bringing more soul into your lovemaking, and seeking out experiences that awaken a deeper sense of love and connection between all that are involved in the connection. And as I said, if you're single, you can sort of use this energy to be more sensual and emotional and explore different fantasies with yourself, and not be ashamed of the need to be more loving and sensual with yourself as well. So yeah, that's the end of this special on the things to do and the many different layers between Venus's transit in Pisces. Take care.